Bermuda Locket, my old friends, my old nemesis. I actually do like playing on Bermuda Locket. It can be quite fun. Lots of expanding, lots of units. Let's check out these guys. We've got Ajax on the north side going Seraphim versus Seraphim on the south side as well. Nexus down there in the lovely purple color. I can imagine that both of these people picked Seraphim on purpose because they have the hover units, and the hover units are going to be very strong on a map such as this one. Ajax opening with first land, second air, as would be expected, with some very, very weird adjacency. I'm not sure what this is, unless he is going for a second and third air factory, which would be odd, let's say, but it could potentially secure him an advantage later on in the game. Engineer out, not building a single mass extractor. He's going to go for the manual reclaim to boost himself up. I'm not sure why you wouldn't build mass extractors, because you could use the reclaim for other things later, but it looks like Nexus is doing the same thing, so maybe it is not such a strange idea. Nexus going to be able to survive the mass stall thanks to his aggressive reclaim, and he's going to be able to survive the power stall thanks to loads and loads of T1 power generators being built by an ACU and an engineer working in tandem. On the north side, seeing a similar situation. Probably going to see mass extractors queued by an engineer momentarily. Lots of power in the meantime. So the reasoning behind this build is because Bermuda Locket has approximately all the reclaim. All of it, every bit in FAF is on this map. And you need a lot of power to be able to make use of all that. So he is going to be queuing 7 naval factories with that engineer. That is a hell of a lot of navy this early in the game. We got a land factory going down on this side after a lot of manual reclaim has been secured. Might actually even see a little bit of overflow, or not. He is going to get that properly prioritized. So surviving entirely off of reclaim. What is this? Playing a game without mass extractors? There it is. This is always where I'm going for T2 mass extractor upgrades as quickly as possible, because you can turn all of this reclaim into permanent income, and it is a lovely thing all told. Got 3 engineers assisting on an air factory build. Already got 2 mass extractors built, with the third on the way. More manual reclaim coming. Looks like we got a land factory on this side and lots of reclaim, but no naval factory queued. So Nexus might be in for a rude surprise should he see how early the naval factories of his opponent are coming down. It's, well, okay. He might have time. He's going to be able to speed build it. You got to think, the build time is very long on a naval factory for both the factory and the unit inside it. So a single engineer building single naval factories that then build single frigates without any assistance, it's still going to be like 4 minutes before anything gets over to this side. Plenty of time for Nexus to recover, send 2 or 3 engineers out, speed build a factory, and then assist the frigate build inside it. We've got an air transport building for Nexus that is going to allow him to scoot his engineers all over the map, secure all of the corners, build all of the expansions. Got the same thing coming from Ajax, but there is an interceptor on his transport. It may actually fall. That single interceptor being evaded by a little bit of micro. 2 interceptors now moving in, more firing from that. Another twitch. 2 interceptors moving in. This Inti is going to not drop it. 41 HP left and an air scout. Oh my goodness. That was close. Pro level micro from Ajax. That was well done. He's going to drop half the load of engineers on this side, half the load on the other side, and be able to secure that expansion. No problemo. That was a little tight there. Definitely could have ended badly, and if Nexus had been able to deny that, he would have had much earlier access to all of his expansions, which would have turned into a huge lead based on the travel times of all these units, plus having to rebuild that transport. However, things are going to come out relatively even. We've got land factories building first off for all of these engineers. The expansions will be claimed post-haste. Interceptors moving in to try to kill this transport, which is still lollygagging about for some reason. Nope, there it goes. It has moved. Not actually an attack order on it. I don't think they have intel, but a move, then attack order. Probably guessing that the transport is going to fly due south. Now we finally got Navy planned. Almost have a frigate out from this side, so unless Nexus does something quickly, he is actually going to get Navy locked. Those 2 engineers will die easily to a frigate coming from the north side, and then there will be problems. Looks like Ajax is building more air factories. He's still powering down with a T1 power. That is repetitively redundant, and I do apologize. But he is opening up the opportunity later on to expand his air production. Got 2 land factories here, 1 building over here, and an air factory that is currently paused due to aggressive power building on the other side. Looks like Nexus is outpacing Ajax on the power build. He is 200 power ahead in the T1 power generators. And here comes Mr. Frigate, which is going to be scouted thanks to this handy dandy thing right here. Drop and counter drop. Looks like we've got 3 engineers versus 2. Point defense being built, which will be able to kill all of those engineers. Not a problem. And there she blows. Kaboom! You are gone. Thank you very much. I did not appreciate your presence anyway. Frigate coming in. Engineers moving over, trying to get out of the way, but that frigate is going to be able to pick up all the kills there. And now there are 3 naval factories complete with 2 more frigates about to drop. So Ajax is going all in on this naval control idea. More power to him. He might actually make it work. Looks like he's also pushing units on the left-hand side. He is going to be moving tanks all the way up through the front, hoping for a securing of this entire arm. He might just make it too, because this engineer has not had a chance to put down the T1 point defense yet. We've now got 3 frigates in the water, but a speedy T2 air factory was made by Nexus. So he is going to get a couple of T2 engineers on the ground, surely for T2 power, since he has 900 T1. And yes, adjacent T2 power generator, probably going to go for torpedo bombers in order to try and alleviate his naval issues. That is going to become an incredible thorn in the side later on, because should one side secure naval control when both are Seraphim, that means that cruisers are coming out and there's going to be TAC missiles in your base very quickly. Looks like Ajax is doing slightly better. He's got a pretty good handle on his expansions, pouring units down this side already, whereas some factories timely built for Ajax on the right-hand side are going to be able to deny the units flowing from this position. I do like Nexus. He is building a torpedo defense and a sonar so that he can keep tabs on what's happening, and he is now building factories on this expansion. So he is going to be able to hopefully get some frigates out before all of these come over to his side and be able to get a foot back in the water. Now the problem here is that there are 6 frigates, about to be a dozen, and that's way too much. That is way too much for a T1 torpedo launcher, unless he had maybe 6 or 7 of them, which they might then be able to reduce the number of frigates fast enough. Is he going subs? He is going for T1 subs. You better be assisting, and you better turn on your other factories. Those are also building T1 subs. So he is strictly going for recovery of his naval position. This is a problem, though. We've already got a shift to T2 Navy, so those T1 subs are going to be immediately locked out by a destroyer that comes out, going to cause massive problems, and I guarantee you that the first unit out of this T2 factory is going to be a cruiser. The frigate lock is strong with this one. Nexus is getting absolutely shut down in these expansions. He does have a huge power advantage, a pretty good handle on the air control, and he does have the torpedo bombers. However, that is not going to save him once this cruiser is built. And yes, that is a cruiser. It's going to take 5 torpedo bombers to knock it out in one pass without losing all of the torps. And then you got to bear in mind that the cruiser also operates on flak as well as direct fire anti-air. So when all of those torpedo bombers come in, even if they're coming from multiple directions, they are going to have to cross paths over the top of the cruiser. The flak is going to be utterly devastating to those things. And then he is also building gunships, which are just going to die hilariously to a Seraphim cruiser. So, all in all, not a good situation at all for Nexus. He is behind on mass. He is not as far ahead as he once was on power, because apparently somewhere on the map right there we have some T2 power coming online for Ajax as well. So both of these guys kind of dispersing their incomes and their build power. Lots of T2 mechs popping into existence for Nexus, who does have a goodly number of T1 subs out. He should be able to deny some of these frigates, and now he has 4 torpedo bombers total. He's going to be able to recover this expansion with the help of the gunships, and hopefully with these subs and the frigates, he will be able to take this cruiser out. Now, Ajax's base has sprung a leak. We've got a T2 support factory on this side. Ilshiv is entering the battlefield. T2 air versus T2 land once again, although we'll be seeing both from both players, I would assume, relatively quickly. That support factory is going to go down to the flood of Zoos that are coming into the base. Of course, the Ilshiv is going to be able to take a lot of units with them, but all in all, it is going to be a loss of this expansion, even harder than the one that Nexus took on this side. That's going to bring them roughly neck and neck in economy. I'm going to take a look at the income as far as reclaim goes in just a second. That is going to be a destroyer, which is going to introduce some more challenges for Nexus's naval build. He is sticking with the 4 torpedo bombers and building more gunships, which I don't think is entirely a good idea. He is powering through more naval factories in order to get more build power online. And now he's got interceptor problems. Going to lose a number of those gunships to the Inties closing in on this side. He is going to swoop in from the back and secure a solid air victory thanks to the distraction of those gunships, which are then going to continue eating through all of these units. However, bear in mind that there is a T2 factory over here, which strangely enough did not build a single T2 flak before shifting to T3. So T3 land incoming. Oh no! Ajax is going to lose his main base. This is not good. It's mostly Zoos left. This Ilshiva with a bit of micro should be able to knock out all of the T1 artillery, but he is going to lose some build power. He's going to lose some power and a support factory more than likely. Thankfully, his main upgrades and his power are not in that base, so he has got a tighter control over his expansion than he does of his home base, and he is going to be getting all of his upgrades and housing his important things over there. But since he did not build a mobile flak that is susceptible to air, which is going to introduce some interesting problems. Nexus recovering, doubling the mass income of his opponent, 141,275 with the securing of those expansions. What a comeback on that one. 30,000 reclaim versus 30,000 reclaim. Those numbers are too damn high, but they are even. So both of these guys are going to be depending on their normal income to make the difference. And right now, Nexus is carrying that away hard. Looks like the destroyer is out, but we now have a destroyer from this side as well. Nexus able to take care of his superior economy advantage and get that destroyer into the water post-haste. Looks like all of this build power died as well to the Zoos coming through, which is not good at all for this situation. We have a total airlock. We have flak out now. 3 of them in total. Good for Ajax, but a little bit late, I fear. Lots of interceptors in the air still for Nexus, even though some of them are probably heavily damaged from that flak. Destroyers are 2 in number for Ajax, but not enough to counter all of this stuff. There is a 3rd one building. The cruiser has died, so that little bit of advantage has gone away. Ajax throwing out the GG and quitting out. Man, that was action-packed. That is the way this map always falls out. Nexus of Reality going to take the win. So what was the tipping point on that? I think it may have actually been the early T2 upgrade. So T2 Air was in response to all of the Navy, but instead of staying with Navy and trying to outbuild Nexus of Reality, a T2 land factory came into being over here, and it kind of stole a lot of the mass from the show in the center. That left Nexus a little bit of a foothold to re-secure this, and since total unit production was down, then Nexus was able to leak in through this arm and secure this expansion. Since the home base was not actually built out, it was over here, units could not be built in time to recover and take this back, and Nexus ended up just stomping Ajax's economy. That is my opinion anyway. We also got a T1 drop. 4 Ilshiv is coming into this base. That is nasty indeed. Alright, gonna shut this one down and see what the next game has in store for us. that is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.